going on, everybody? It's Aurora coming at you with a brand new video, and we got some more stuff revealed out of a new set, this time being Terminal World, which I don't think we've gotten something for in a while, at least revealed, and this time it's actually Gem Knight, and I'm super excited. You might have remembered from, oh my god, like 2+ years ago now, back when Power of the Elements was getting revealed, that in the last Gem Knight video, I was actually a huge fan of Gem Knight getting support, though I was a bit disappointed by the Gem Knight support we got out of Power of the Elements, because one of the cards was just okay, one of them was pretty good, admittedly, one was incredibly, restrictive, and then one of them I think was, kinda useless. Konami's, incredibly scared to bring back a card like Brilliant Fusion, or have, any sort of, more generic ways of using the Gem Knight cards, and so they're kinda locked into their own archetype with a lot of their newer stuff, and so they kinda try and focus them on the OTK aspect, but the OTK aspect kinda sucks. So I'm hoping that this new stuff, we're getting, I believe, 4 cards here revealed. I'm hoping that this new stuff can help the OTK variant at least, and help it actually break apart boards better, instead of just trying to mildly make big guys. So I'm not going to waste any more time, let's go ahead and get right into it. Starting off, we have a brand new fusion, Gem Knight Master Dia Dispersion. It is a level 9 Earth Rock fusion with 3000 attack and 2600 defense. It requires 3 gem monsters, very nice and generic, and you can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. During the main phase, quick effect, you can send this card to the graveyard, special up to 3 non-rock gem monsters with different names from your extra deck and or graveyard, ignoring their summoning conditions. Also, you cannot special from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except fusion monsters, and when your Gem Knight fusion monster is destroyed by battle while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. Okay, so right off the bat, they want to immediately give you a way into 3 gem monsters from your extra deck. So admittedly, it requires specifically non-rock ones, in which, let me see. Let me go. Let's see, for the extra deck, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gems in the extra deck that aren't rock, and admittedly, they're all, not great. I mean, Lady Rose Diamond's okay. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can banish a gem from your graveyard, then target a face-up card your opponent controls and destroy it. That one's okay, but most of them are kind of, outdated. Also, this does prevent you from going into the really, really important Link monster for this deck after you use the effect, so you want to go into the Link monster early, which, to be fair, you're probably using the Phantom Quartz to get access to your Gem Knight fusion to make this, so not really a massive deal. But I mean, summoning 3 massive bodies from your extra deck, including one that's a monster pop on effect activation, is pretty cool. And then the second effect isn't probably going to be super relevant, admittedly, but I mean, it is something that can help prevent your opponent from killing you when you bring out a 3k body after your opponent kills something. One of their new main deck monsters is Gem Knight Neparim. I think it's supposed to be Nephilim or something like that, like a fairy. It is a level 4 light fairy. It's also got almost Shadal looking wings, by the way. Actually, it might. Is this? Oh my god, this is Construct after becoming a Gem Knight again. That's so cool, actually. But it's a level 4 light fairy, 1550 attack, 1600 defense. You can only use each effect once per turn, of which it has 3. If it's normal or special summon, you can add any Gem Knight card from deck to hand, except Nephirim, and any effect damage your opponent takes for the rest of the main phase is halved. They're so scared of the FTK. That's so funny, oh my god. During your main phase, you can immediately normal summon a gem monster. That's really cool, because that means it's just Seraphonite, but an additional one on top of that, because you can actually use the first one to summon Seraphonite. And if this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, and if you do, special this card. Okay, so ignoring how funny it is that they really don't want the FTK to happen, so they had to put this on. This is actually really, really good, by the way. This is an insane card. Adds any Gem Knight card, period. Super, super cool. Doesn't add Brilliant Fusion-esque cards that don't have Gem Knight in the name, unfortunately, but still pretty good. The second effect is really good for getting an additional normal summon of any gem, which I think it's Gem Armadillo that adds a monster, so you can do more with that, and I like that the new fusion actually only requires gems, not Gem Knights. Then the third effect makes it really, really easy to access this card. Super huge fan of it. Their other new main deck monster is Gem Knight Void Roots. It's a level 7 Dark Fiend, 1950 attack, 2450 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. You can send 1 Gem Knight normal monster or Gem Knight Fusion from deck to the graveyard, special this card from hand in defense position, and when your opponent activates a card or effect and you control a Gem Knight Fusion monster, quick effect, you can banish 3 Gem Knight cards from your grave, including this card, negate that effect, then all Gem Knight monsters you currently control gain 1000 attack. This is actually really, really huge. Oh my god. So it dumps your Gem Knight Fusion, which can banish things to add itself from graveyard to the hand, by the way. So this makes it to where you can access your Gem Knight Fusion without having to go into the Phantom Courts, of which this already helps you access Phantom Courts immensely. And then while it's in the graveyard, it's essentially kind of like a Rika Princess or whatever, and that it's a negate from the graveyard. It does banish 3 Gem Knight cards, which is a little annoying if you're already banishing stuff off of your Gem Knight Fusion, but it's also not only a negate, but also makes your Gem Knight monsters gain 1000 attack, which will make it even harder for your opponent to beat over them. Really good in combination with something like Gem Knight Lady Rose Diamond, so that you have more disruption when you're forced to go first with this deck, which I actually really enjoy. Finally, their new spell card is Gem Knight Dispersion. It's a normal spell that says activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. Fusion 1 Gem Knight Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, but if you have a Gem Knight Fusion in your graveyard, you can also use up to 2 non-rock Gem Knights from your deck or extra deck, or add 1 gem monster from deck or banishment to your hand. Also for the rest of the main phase, any effect. Oh my god. Okay, so this is kind of like their really good target for Verte, I think it was, the one where you dump it and it could search or whatever if you weren't fusing. But mostly, this is really huge to fusion summon using things from your deck, up to 2 non-rocks, which means you can use the brand new Nephilim, which will be able to summon itself, and get a search and an additional normal summon immediately, just by sending a card from the hand to the graveyard. You can dump the Gem Knight Fusion easy off the Void Roots, and there's also plenty of other really good non-rock gem monsters. Or I guess it's Gem Knight monsters. Most importantly, Gem Knight Courts, which actually came out of the last wave of support back in Power of the Elements, which says it gets to add a Gem Knight monster from grave to hand if it's sent to the grave or banished for a fusion summon, which is really good. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with Gem Knight Obsidian because it has to be sent from hand, which is kind of annoying, but it's still really cool to send Courts and Nephilim, get a bunch of effects going off. You can immediately go into the big guy up here because you can just use like 2 from the deck and then 1 from the hand, which is not a big deal at all. Especially if you use something like a Void Roots after you already use the effect to dump the Gem Knight Fusion from your deck for cost, by the way. This is literally circular. This is just really good. Oh my god, so with that being said, what do I think about this wave of support? This is massive. This is almost everything that Gem Knight could really ask for. This helps you get massive OTK damage on board. This helps you do literally almost anything you want. This is literally a circular, dumps your Gem Knight Fusion, gets that live without having to go into Phantom Courts, helps you go into Phantom Courts, and also has a negate built into it for a deck that struggles to go first otherwise, unless you're doing the FTK. And you have something that can either be a free Rhoda, or adds from banishment as well, but mostly just a free Rhoda, or a fusion summon that uses materials from your deck, so literally just like a branded fusion essentially, that'll get a bunch of things to trigger, including the brand new Nephilim. And I guess technically you can also send the Void Roots if you really wanted to. It has no immediate trigger effect, but it does make the negate live, and this does work on your turn as well. So I don't know, man, this just seems really good. Do I think it's going to make Gem Knight top tier? Absolutely not. But I think that this is going to make the deck feel so much better, and I actually really want to start experimenting with it once this comes to EDO, but I don't know, that's just my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below, because that's going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please sure to leave a like, as I'll put this video and the channel into the YouTube recommended, and if content or somewhere like the rest of my card reviews, then perhaps consider subscribing and turning on notifications, because sports channel or anything else, and it's absolutely free. But if you want to support me directly, you can get some awesome TG merchandise in the process. Check out Tapio cards in the link down below. Use code Aurora5 for 5% off your purchase at checkout and support me financially. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon down below to see what you can get for my $1 and $5 tiers. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.